I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and we are in week 3 of the World Team Carcassonne Online Championship. So we're nearing closer to the final bits of the group stage, and the final scenarios of the tournament table are becoming a tad more clear. 2 matches today, well actually 3 matches today, but 2 matches in this stream. Our main event of the day is Japan versus Czechia. Czechia is a team, one of the 3 teams that won all of the 3 group encounters last year, only to be quickly knocked off in the playoffs. And Japan, of course, is our reigning champion, so we expect to have a very high level of Carcassonne. And after that, an hour from now, also an interesting encounter between Hong Kong and China, but let's talk about this a little bit later. So Japan versus Czechia is going to be a rather equal match, so much so that I think that the challengers are going to be a slight favorite over the champions. Wait, I think I got you... Yeah, the tournament table from the wrong group. Anyway, we're going to talk about the tournament situation a little bit later. What's interesting are the lineups, as we have at least 4, possibly 5 masters from Japan. Snow Island, Pyro, ATRT, and Kithara of all master level players, and I think Nanatake is not that far behind in the upper 600s, but 3 masters for Czech Republic, of course the famous Martin duo, Martin Mojžíš on table 2, and Martin Čelinak. We're only missing the 3rd Martin, Martin Boreš, who will be watching from the sidelines, but they have a 3rd master instead on table 3, a newer player, but one that went very far in the Mind Sports Olympiad, finishing 4th? No, yeah, finishing 4th. Or 3rd. Anyway, a semi-finalist from the Mind Sports Olympiad, Pavel Hudec, with the screen name Posi. So all 3 masters from Czechia, I think, going to be a slight favorites on table 2, 3, 4. Especially on table 4, I would say that Martin Čelinak is currently the strongest player in Czech Republic, with Martin Mojžíš and Posi very, very close behind. On table 2, a newer expert for Czechia with the screen name Michael, that's just a Slavic transliteration of the name Michael, I assume, playing against a very experienced opponent with a rating in their upper 800s, no, in the 800s, with a peak rating in the 800s and a deep understanding of the game with a screen name Kithara. And on table 1, Snow Island's going to be a favorite against Chomps. Chomps, a decent expert player with a peak rating in the 600s, I believe, but they're currently a bit on a downswing in their upper 400s at the moment, if you care about ratings and stuff. So, in order for Japan to win this, they're going to need to deliver a win either on table 2, 3, or 4. And I think the best chances are actually on table 2, even though Martin Mojžíš with the screen name Moya88 is still slightly stronger, I believe. Of course, the 2012 world champion, and just a very high-rated player. Pyro, though, is currently very high-rated in the upper 700s and is outrating Moya, so they seem to be in very good shape. And that's why the plan for today is to just follow this duo for the duration of the entire match. And then we're going to jump to other players only once in a while. So an uncharacteristically fast start of the game is in just a couple of minutes. 10 tiles have been played, and I'm saying uncharacteristically because, of course, Martin is known to be one of the slowest players alive, but I think that's a good thing because they actually think about their moves, and they do find their best moves in the opening in particularly, and this is also where Martin spends most of his time. Typically, he would think, for full minute or 2 minutes about some opening move, and then in the middle game, his moves become a bit more automatic through experience, and also in the endgame, he has very often delivered endgame solutions with just a couple of seconds on his clock. Pyro isn't known for speed or lack thereof. I think they have actually overall really good time management. They know when to think. They have green meeples here, an advantage of 2 minutes already on the clock, but Moya has 8 points on the scoreboard. They've also dropped a third farmer, which is already scoring 3 points. Here, red guy scoring 3 points for this city. And then there's a lot of potential on this farm because of these little cities here being completed. And then loads of green squares for future development. And most importantly, what makes this farmer so good is that alternative places to build new cities are few and far between. I guess daggers could still go over here, but something simple as a vanilla city cap doesn't really go here productively, for example, because it just gets obstructed so easily. So even if Pyro gets some city cap tiles to start new cities, they're probably going to have to go here next to the monastery, then later finish the city and then try to fight for this field. And since this field is going to be important, it's quite useful for Red to have a head start. That's also one of the things which is quite difficult at this level, is just recognizing which farms have potential and which one don't, and in which case it's better to drop an early farmer for future potential or save a meeple for the temporary meeple advantage and then deploy the farmer a little bit later, or forego the field at all and try to get your points elsewhere. The field route here definitely makes sense. Moya is starting a new road here, and Pyro rather quickly responds, just building their city at the bottom, and there's definitely nothing wrong with that move. I'm just really surprised how quickly he responded, and I think that Pyro is now trying to press Moya on the clock, using, Moya's reputation that he tends to take his time. And what Pyro's doing now, he's trying to think during Moya's time, and he was considering this here move as a possible response. And he figured, okay, if red goes here, I go here. And this actually makes a lot of sense. So green is threatening an 8-point city, and green did not want to finish this here city, just because green's plan was to maybe try and go here and eat up this city piece. Also interesting that Moya got himself the first triple city piece and is now in fact threatening to go over here and try to win this city for about 14 points, or even more. Yeah, 14 or 16, depends on the tile that's going to be drawn. And Pyro is now trying to obstruct that city invasion whilst also scoring 3 points at the same time. Finally getting on the scoreboard, and as we can see, the play with the red meeples did have, in fact, a tile to connect, but now it is no longer possible. Still, it is relatively safe. It's still going to take a long time to block his connection, and still the most likely outcome of this situation is that red will eventually connect, because these two road pieces make it so that it is quite easy to defend. So let's say if Pyro places something over here, then Moya's going to have two options. Either place a road piece over here to hope for one of the 4 remaining road Doritos like this, or to place a city piece, hoping for one of the 2 remaining triple cities like this. And then, if truly nothing works, that he can still place something here for an indirect defense whilst also continuing his road. And, of course, this doesn't mean that Martin shouldn't try. I mean, Martin's going to go here eventually and maybe take 2 points with a crossroads or something, but... Oh, not Martin, sorry, Pyro. Yeah, Pyro's going to go there eventually. Alright, see. Some quick moves have been made whilst I was catching up with the chat. Hi Kirillo, hi Self-Evident, hi Genro, hi Ice Maze. 16 or 18, that was referring to what? I'm not sure. Well, there is nothing wrong with my webcam. I just figured to make a minimalistic stream, to mix it up. Sometimes with the camera, sometimes without. I might turn it back on. in the evening. Oh, right, the city points. Yeah. So actually, the city is slightly more threatening than I initially thought. In any case, Pyro now gets himself a second monastery in a location which I don't necessarily find appealing. I mean, here definitely makes a little bit more sense to me. I guess he did not want to be controlled too easily by this Red Road meeple. But the thing with these diagonal monasteries, they're not as good as it might seem. Because there's really only one shared square for which you're going to get those extra 2 points, right? At some point. So like when you fill the square, you're going to get 2 points. One for this monastery, one for this. And then everything else you got to still build up the hard way. In the meantime, everything I told you all before happened. Pyro took 2 points for the road and Moyo defended with a city piece. Now 2 tiles remaining here for a 75% chance of completion. And this looks like a really, really good position for red. Just because these 75% are not going to be taken away. Now, Pyro can still win. First of all, there's 25% possibility that Pyro's not gonna... Pyro's gonna draw both triple city tiles and Moya's not gonna connect, and then this meeple here is gonna be frozen for the rest of the game. Or if Moya gets this tile late enough, then of course the Japanese player might gain a temporary meeple advantage and try to do something with that. In the meantime, players exchange quick points. Moya is still 3 points ahead on the scoreboard. Pyro has massive monasteries over here. And very interesting tile for Martin, one of the most inflexible tiles in the game. And there are really only 2 legal moves. So if we go here as red, we help our opponent's monastery, and we also curtail our field a little bit, and we don't like this. But if we go here, which was Martin's choice, then we help our opponent's city, which we also don't like. But here, at the very least, there was a chance of blocking this square, but not anymore, as a city plus road tile was drawn by Pyro for immediate defense. Now 3 Dorito tiles with a road fit here for a 88-ish% chance. And it's also interesting how both players are waiting for a different type of critical tile. Yeah, and the timing of the tiles depends a lot, because you see, eventually this here city is going to be connected, and Moya really could use a meeple, an extra meeple, to invade over here. And I wonder if he's going to do it even right now, even over his last meeple, because this city is much more dangerous than it seems. It's not going to be just a ruin. There's a genuine threat of getting 2 city caps by green and closing the city for around 30 points, which is way too much. So what does Moya do here? Yeah, I really don't know. So he decides to go with his last meeple and invade, and he's gonna get into trouble for this. I definitely can't blame him just because that city is so critical. And Moya's plan is just to get meeple back from elsewhere, and I think he's gonna do it right now. Yeah, so he's finishing his opponent's city and shortening his road by a little bit. At least if this tile were a starting tile, he'd get 5 points for a road, but now he's getting only 3. And he sacrificed a couple of points, help of his opponent's city, just to get a meeple back. And this was probably one of the best possible outcomes for red. This also shows you the double-edged nature of dropping these here early farmers. Even though there's a lot of potential, the meeple disadvantage it causes is real. With 2 meeples in hand, Moya could have made this move without any hesitation, and then still had 1 tile remaining for 1 meeple remaining for quick points. So now at least he got a meeple back, still a decent position, really waiting for that critical tile, and now this farmer is very good. It's now worth 12 points at the very least. But Pyro has this here platform for invasion. But then this platform also not going to stay here for long, because if Pyro doesn't go here right now with a farmer, and I'm not sure if I'd do that, I'd rather wouldn't. But if Pyro doesn't go here now, then Moya's going to get a straight line, prolong his road, and then eliminate this 3-point field, which would be the best platform for attack. The reason why I wouldn't be so in a rush if I were Pyro here, first, I want to enjoy my meeple advantage a little bit more, because when Moya finishes this city, then we're going to be at a points disadvantage, and we just really want to press our opponents with meeples. Then also, there's this second-rate, but still acceptable farming platform here. We could get a regular Dorito tile, drop a farmer like this, invade whilst building our monastery. And third, going here and dropping a farmer actually creates another platform for re-invasion, like Moya could go here, drop a farmer like this. And Pyro goes for the stacking approach, and I think his strategy is going to be not even to bother with the farm at all. He's just going to finish a monastery, another monastery, and trying to go for an indirect confrontation. But there's also one more opportunity. If Pyro gets himself a road Dorito tile, the objective for Pyro is now much, much different. He's not going to go over here. He is going to go over here, finish his monastery, and start a rhombus-shaped city. So much so that I think going here is actually not a crazy move, because it's a bit annoying to deal with if Pyro doesn't have a blocking tile. That would maybe be a bit too fancy, maybe just a standard move like this, adding 1 point and then hoping to start and block this city invasion. That would be certainly reasonable. Or this also makes sense, he just takes 1 point for the monastery, and it's totally justifiable. And in fact, if it goes here, then there's another monastery spot remaining, and there's still one more monastery tile in the deck, which could be used here for a super effective monastery cluster. The one downside about this move is that the field becomes even more inaccessible, because before that, if you were to place something like a straight line over here, we'd be opening up an invasion opportunity from the bottom, all the way like this. Now it's not possible. In the meantime, Pyro starts a new city at the top, using the city cap that Moya dropped in his field, and Moya gets a city cap and now goes over here, which blocks. Almost blocks, severely restricts, let's call it like this, which severely restricts this here city, this here monastery square. And this is a completely justifiable use for a city cap, even if Pyro at some point manages to draw the city cap tile that fits over here. He's still going to spend a long time without these two meeples. So Pyro's trying to get a meeple back at the top. Moya's trying to block him a little bit, and Pyro gets the last Dorito tile. Not only to prolong his city, but there's another place where it's relevant, and this is this square. So Pyro was kind of busy going here at the bottom, trying to block Moya's invasion there. And then he restricted the square, leaving the only Dorito, and now it's drawn. So this poor little red guy is going to stay at 1 point. This is a huge loss. Huge loss for the Czech player. But a huge gain is this 20-point city, plus extra 2 points for the road, and 18 points on the scoreboard is the lead of Martin. He also is ahead on a 15-point field in the center, at the very least 15-point field. And this field is kind of hard to invade, unless 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Pyro goes here and drops a farmer at some point. Oh, what a draw here for Pyro. He's going to finish a city cap and a monastery, and likely a second monastery. Also, this move by Pyro was very neat, because he was actually setting up a field connection. Well, Pyro is now going to lose his city here at the top for just 5 points, but only 5 points behind on the scoreboard. And with a big ruin and 2 monasteries which outscore the semi-blocked road by Moya, should make it still more than possible for the Czech player to win. So one option for him is to go for the big farm right now, and there's an unblockable invasion here. If we go over here, drop a farmer, there is a curve remaining. Actually, there's 2 of those for close to 80% chance of invasion. And from a win probability standpoint, it might be worth doing. On the other hand, if Moya draws a curve, then he can easily go over here and just reinvade like this. Either through a straight line. Actually, no, there are no straight lines remaining. But just maybe like this through some sort of vanilla city cap, maybe. There's one vanilla city cap. Yeah, so this invasion like that is still possible. And then Pyro is going to be left with 1 meeple with no particular gain. Also, if Moya gets a curve, he can still go over here and score 4 points for this road. So what the Japanese player is deciding right now is whether he needs to fight for the field in order to win. As many players, many expert players, would just drop a farmer here automatically, but we got a thing. So what are we having here at the moment? -5 on the scoreboard, compensated by this 5-point city, so everything's equal. Moya has a 15-point field, actually 18-point field. Pyro has 15 points in the monastery, so that's -3. Moya has a 9-point road, so that's -12, but Pyro has a 14-point city here. Well, actually a 15-point city versus 1, so +14 in this here area, which puts Pyro at +2. And that's a very tricky lead to have. Yeah, so, I just realized I made a farming hallucination. Of course, I was suggesting invading a non-existent farm. I'm pretty sure some of you will have pointed in the chat, but I was correct that the invasion would occur in this area. Here is, of course, the invasion, but then I wonder, is that even necessary? Well, it's a 50-50 chance, actually. No, it's even worse. I hate that move, to be honest. I actively dislike that move. Like, if you're gonna invade, why not go for the 75%er? Why go for something that has a lower probability? So there's a starting tile, but there are also a bunch of crossroads for Moya to block. And another viable strategy was just simply keeping our 2 points advantage and just going over here for a 6-point farm and denying Moya the 6-point farm. So Pyro now, in theory, could go over here to invade the field. The only problem is that, as natural this invasion looks, there are no tiles to invade anymore, because all monasteries, all splitters, all vanilla city caps, all triangles, all of the something 15, 16 tiles that fit for invasion are no longer suitable. That's actually kind of fun. Way more than 15, 16. And obviously Moya drew the last 2 curves. Yeah, you know what? Like, from Pyro's perspective, just taking away the 6-point field would have put him +8, and then also Pyro has this city to get more points. So it's really wouldn't be that hard for him to win. Also, if Pyro gets a curve, then he can get these 4 points here. I mean, this move is understandable, so maybe the Japanese player has calculated something in terms of probabilities that I haven't. I just really don't like dropping 0-point farmers where I am in the lead, because that's one quick way to lose the game. And also we can see a great move here from Moya for a counter invasion of the field, anticipating that Pyro is going to go over here and invade, and then Moya can draw the last T crossroads to go here and re-invade the field. So yeah, What does Pyro even do here? Because now he's in a tricky position. He spent a lot of moves, a lot of meeples, scoring 0 points and 2 points over here, whereas Moya got 4 for road, 6 here, now threatening another farmer. And intuitively, at least, it seems that we still... So we might either go for invasion right now, in which case we simply hope that Moya does not get a crossroad tiles, which I believe is his only tile for invasion. Or, if we're going to hope for a crossroad tile, we can use it here for an invasion as well. So we might just take the points, like going here for a 6-point city, or for a 4-point city next to our monastery to give us a meeple back. And then, if we get a crossroads, then we go over here. So that certainly would be one way of doing things. Hi, Victor. Yes, I know. I was very confused with some invasions at the top. But yeah, Pyro has 3 minutes to solve this endgame. I'm not sure how much exactly he's behind. I think he should be behind 8 points. Actually, no, 2, 4, 6 points. 6 points he should be behind. So you know what? Like doing something like this. Actually, no, if you do something like this, it's a 0-point move. Because you take 6 points and then you lose 3 points to this farmer and 3 points to that farmer. So you don't want to do that. Like if you go here, at the very least, you're scoring 2 points. Well, because it's 1 for this city and 1 for this monastery. Or 4 for the city, 1 for the monastery, and -3 because we're giving it to your opponent's field. Yeah, but how do we make 6 exactly? I'm also thinking, is there a way to drop another farmer? But it really does not matter, because if Moya invades here, I just don't see us winning, really. Probably knowing the remaining tiles would help a little bit. Ah, and this actually might change things, because 1, 2, 3, 4, well, there are Doritos remaining. A road Dorito in particularly. And so an invasion like this, through the outside of a curve, is possible. But then again, if we're hoping for the last remaining road Dorito, then what's the point? Because this means that Moya is going to draw this crossroads here. You see, Moya as the starting player is also the finishing player, and that's where the advantage comes. Moya will have perfect information, so they're going to have the last move available to them. And also, with the 3 tiles unseen, Moya is going to draw 2 of them, whereas Pyro is going to draw only 1. So really, I just don't see any other opportunities than simply getting the 33%. But you know what? We actually should be wary. And I don't think this is the move here by Pyro. Because depending on what the final tile is, Moya... Well, he's going to get the crossroads. But imagine if Moya were to get something else. Then Moya could have set up another invasion and try to guarantee himself this field. So both players exchange points. Pyro should still be 6 points behind if I'm not mistaken. Taking 4 points now. Yeah, and Moya now taking the horse tile, which is going to use to score 3 points and win by 5, if I'm not mistaken, or something around this. But this is also one of the reasons why I didn't like this move, because you see, if you go over here, then you win only 1 in 6 times. Only 1 in 6, not 1 in 3, because with this here tile, Moya would have gone here and dropped a farmer. And then, if Pyro connects here, denying also Moya the connection here through the crossroads, then Moya could have connected through here, through Pyro's monastery on his last turn, and reclaimed the field. That's why it was so important, instead of just taking 2 quick points, to actually go over here and take the same number of points in a different location, whilst also denying Moya the opportunity for this field connection. So, sadly, Pyro did not solve this endgame. 4 points instead of 5 is the victory by Moya. And yeah, maybe this farming move certainly has to be something that can be called into question. I mean, it makes some sense, but maybe with just going over here and hoping for some quick points was a move that would yield a higher winning opportunity. There's also interesting how kind of Pyro shifted his strategy. So there was a critical move over here where he chose to invest 1 more meeple into a monastery cluster and basically forego the field. And this is often how these imbalances go. Like, one side has loads of monasteries, the other side has the field. There's, of course, a different imbalance as well, where Pyro would have this ruin and Moya would have this big completed city and so on. So in actually this position is a double imbalance. But in any case, if you go for this strategy, the way these games typically go is that one side like wins by 2 or 3 points, and if you're gonna win with these monasteries, then typically the way you do this is you just don't touch the field unless you absolutely have to. Now, of course, if this move were to work, we'd all be saying that Pyro is a genius. I'm not sure how the probabilities work here. Intuition tells me, and we might also check this with a calculator a little bit later, actually, I'm very curious. Intuition tells me that this chance, the chance of invasion was here around 40%, just because Moya had multiple crossroads available to him here, with which he could block that invasion entirely. And I'm also not even talking about some other opportunities to go with multiple tiles here. But yeah, but it's interesting. It's very complicated. And the Czech player comes up on top, despite being meeple-less for a little bit and despite having some difficulties. Alrighty, but we're going to be headed in our game 2, where Martin's going to be the starting player again, and certainly not something that Japanese fans are going to enjoy. We just saw how nastily the Czech master exploited that starting player advantage in the endgame. Yeah, and again, he's going to be thinking for quite some time here. Quite an equal position. Pyro looking pretty good with the monastery over here. 4 points on the scoreboard. Moya with 3 points for this road. And he now just finishes the city, which I actively dislike. I mean, I'm pretty sure he must have had his reasons. Like, the standard move in this position is, of course, to go here to continue the road and start a new city. And also potentially use this road end over here. I'm not sure exactly what he was thinking. Maybe the idea was that he would maybe later get some sort of cow tile and try to obstruct this here monastery, and he didn't want to obstruct his own future road, but this is a bit of an unlikely scenario. Yeah, so I think definitely some miss of equity here. Again, maybe Martin didn't want to keep this city cap open because eventually this city cap would be taken, causing this meeple some trouble. But really, in the opening, when you get tiles like this, like these daggers, you want to be taking advantage of both the road element and the city element of the tile. So essentially it's a 3-point tile, right? So it's 2 points for the city piece and 1 point for this road piece. And we just saw it used as a 2-point tile instead. There might be some positional gain for that. That we're going to find out soon. Moya is still ahead on the scoreboard, but this is actually a good position for Pyro because of this monastery here, which is now looking much more safe. after this here road piece anticipates a 4-point road with 2 straight lines going here potentially. Here green is exerting a bit of pressure on red's road, not something that red should be concerned about, because regardless of how you restrict it, there's still going to be at least 3 tiles that fit into that square. What is red going to do? Red's going to probably continue his road, or maybe go here. Actually, that's pretty nasty. That's playing against the monastery and against the city, setting up an attacking platform. And knowing Martin, he's going to go here. An alternative interesting move is just to go here and start a new road and try to pick up as much value as you possibly want. This is not something that Martin's going to do. One thing that he does hate is having multiple meeples on roads. And also his road score is pretty low. Like his average road score is pretty low compared to other top players, so that's a stylistic difference, partially because of his early farmers. So typically when you deploy an early farmer, you have fewer meeples at your disposal to score for other stuff. Yep, and this is exactly what happens. I told you, I know him very well. We've played several games and I've been watching him for like, what, 12 years. Man, this move I really like. Now, we can quibble about the orientation. I probably would have preferred the other one. Yeah, I definitely would have preferred the other one, but I'm pretty sure there's a reason for this as well. And the point is that we decrease the quality of this square, and we decrease the quality of this square. So we're playing against 2 squares of our opponents. And Moya now connects to Pyro's city. He also adds a point to Pyro's monastery, but actually it is good for him because he eliminates a monastery spot. Now, only a road monastery goes here, and the vanilla monastery doesn't go here anymore. Not that the Japanese player should bemoan his fate too much if he draws a monastery. A monastery still goes here wonderfully, or here also wonderfully, really, for just fewer points, but in very, very lucrative spots. Pyro is starting a new city, and Moya is going to obstruct that city. He's not going to go over here. This connection can easily be delayed, and it's really not that important. So the reason why you place this meeple here is just to not allow Pyro to complete his city, and whether you're going to invade that city or not matters a little bit, but it matters much less. So Martin here has several options. Option 1 that strikes me is just to go here, really put a thorn next to Pyro's city. With only 1 divider remaining in the deck, it will be a very clunky city building shape. Also, some crucial city plus road tiles have already been drawn, making it harder to fill this square if a cow goes here. There are a couple of alternatives that we can use to play against this here city at the top. For example, doing something like this, or maybe even something like this. But this move, I have to profoundly disagree. Now, I was thinking the same move without a meeple, and placing a meeple here is not necessarily a mistake. But this shape of the city is so ugly. Like, imagine if a meeple is not here. Then if green builds, then green is not going to be threatening a city anytime soon. So what you can do, you can just leave this alone. You can let green spend a couple more tiles to develop the city into something tangible, and then you invade a little bit later. So that could be a potential plan. Because you see, now green can use these city tiles to pursue a different project on the left. He's now on a blocking mission against this poor red guy. Something that worked for Pyro very, very well last game, if you remember, this exact blocking pattern, just on a much bigger ruin in the south on the previous board. Ice Maze is saying that cow looks like a waste of a good meeple. Yeah, exactly. And if I'm completely honest, probably like if somebody else were to do this, if like an expert level player were to do this, I will be much more critical about the way I speak about this move. It's just, I'm making the assumption, giving the benefit of the doubt here, that the 2012 world champion might know something that I don't, and they might have a reason here. But yeah, part of the logic was simply that, hey, I have 5 meeples, why don't I spend one? But even when you have 5 meeples, they eventually run out. Another reason why you'd place a meeple here, and why actually I might place a meeple there against some positions, is just to reduce variance. Because there are scenarios where Pyro just draws city tiles very, very, very quickly, and then you draw road tiles and you can't connect, and then they finish a 20-point city, and then you look like a loser. But this happens rarely enough to just take the risk. And this seems to be like an attempt to control everything. And this is something that you do when you perceive your opponent to be weaker than you. Like significantly weaker. Pyro now places, honestly I'm going to say, an absolutely brilliant monastery here for 3 points. It looks ugly, because Moya has actually one blocking tile available to him, the last remaining dagger that would go over here, and that would block the square. But this is one tile in the entire deck. And so, what this move does, it just makes... Yeah, what this move does, it just makes it so much less likely in the long term that these monasteries are going to get blocked. Plus, you know, it has 2 shared squares. So this here move was a 2-point move. Then Pyro, oh, look at this pattern, okay. A road monastery goes here. A road monastery goes here. And also a 7-point road or 6-point road goes here. So this is a nasty, nasty threat that needs to be dealt with. I don't know how. Yeah, this is also a very interesting monastery pattern that we don't see a lot. Because when you think of stacking, you think of this stuff, right? So you have 2 monasteries nearby, and you have all these squares surrounding it, where you can, you know, build stuff and get extra points. So any of these squares, you're going to score for 2 of these monasteries. So it's like a scoring machine. But this here pattern is actually not much worse, because you have 3 squares, these, where you are going to score 2 points, 1 point per monastery. Yeah, so that's kind of fun. A very nice find here by the Japanese player. In the meantime, Martin decides that there's not much that he can do against the monasteries, so he just decides to go on a quest to conquer a big city over here. And Pyro now makes a very unpleasant threat, which cannot be dealt with that move. If Pyro gets himself a road Dorito tile or something like this, which he doesn't just yet, he's going to deny Moya 1 more meeple and a city invasion, but the red guy still lives. Of course, he invades immediately, now posing a much more significant threat over here. And now Pyro with a curve. Not an easy decision to be made. I mean, Pyro wishes he had a road monastery or something, but he doesn't. So Pyro now has several objectives. He needs to try and improve the quality of this meeple, either by getting an extender and trying to invade this big ruin, or at the very least by getting a Dorito or a city cap to just go over here and build an acceptable city on his own. But I actively dislike this move by Pyro. It's gonna hurt him so much. I understand this, but this is such an unnecessary restriction. I understand why this is done. So you see, the most natural move that Green could have played was to go over here with a road. In the meantime, Green, of course, continues his city a little bit. Red invades Green's city at the top, neutralizing the most potent threat. And what a move from Moya! I did not see that coming. I did not see that coming. Instead of invading the city, which is what I would have done, I mean, it just looks so natural, he chooses to just deny Pyro 1 more city and also create a chance to create an even bigger ruin with a Dorito and 1 more triple city tile over here. Because let's say if Pyro goes here now, which I think he should, yeah, now trying to block Moya's meeple in his last game, then there's still an outside chance, if Moya gets blocked here, that he can go like this, reclaim leadership in that big city with this guy, and then block the square somehow, not allowing Pyro to reinvade. It's a bit of a difficult path, and one that is kind of unlikely, but it's a backdoor option that's available. And one of the reasons why I would have invaded is, you know, because now he could lose a meeple pretty easily. Well, he won't. Wait, actually, we don't know this. So if Moya goes here and covers up, there's only one tile remaining, right? We're running so short on these row Doritos. 4 of them are here on the board. There's only one. And ideally, you want to preserve yourself the chance to get one of the triple city tiles as well, because there are 2 of these horses available. Yeah, but he goes for the 50-50 defense nonetheless, just because this 50% does so much for his winning chances. In the meantime, Moya gets a splitter, which is a huge tile for me. Also, great move from Pyro. So this here move, oh yeah, it does so many things. First of all, it denies Moya the chance for this invasion. And then, of course, it makes sure that the city does not ever get completed because there is nothing that fits into the square, even if Moya connects. Now, if Moya does connect, he's going to score a lot, I think 16 points or something around this. But, that's still not a crazy amount. Yeah, going back to this move here that Pyro made, because I really want to address this. The reason why he didn't want to move with a curve like this is because Moya could claim the 7-point road and he did not want to give it to him. But getting your 2 meeples frozen for a long time is just so much worse. And look how tables are turning. Moya gets his meeple back. Red was trying to take the city and the north, but instead, with 1 triple city tile, Pyro turned the tide and now attacks over here. Pyro has his last meeple invested. He cannot do really anything much. And Moya gonna get the Dorito tile and he's gonna deny the invasion over here to Pyro. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, still 3 triple cities remaining, so an easy re-invasion by Moya should close to seal the deal in this game. Because Pyro's gonna stay without meeples for so much, just because this here move is going to bite him. Somewhere. For sure. Because one of the crossroads was drawn by Moya already, so there's 1 tile in the entire deck remaining for Pyro to get meeples back. Like, this is just abysmal. And also, that was an absolutely decent position. Of course, by the way, Pyro gets himself a straight line, which would have freed him up a meeple, but didn't. Yeah, and now Moya just builds up his city at the top, and really Pyro can only wait for a crossroads, and even then, okay, he's gonna get 2 meeples back probably with a crossroads plus curve combo. Well, he's gonna get 18 points on the scoreboard from the monasteries. So now really everything depends on the timing on this tile. So every move, Pyro's gonna have like a 5% chance of drawing the tile that he needs. And it's going to be increasing slightly. And whilst he's waiting for that tile, he's going to lose so much value, whilst Moya keeps just scoring and scoring and scoring. Oh, I kind of forgot. Moya still has the 50-50 chance of getting himself even this city. A Dorito tile for Moya, just a different kind of Dorito. He's going to build up. I presume his plan is to block this square, just to not leave any comeback opportunities for his opponent. And it's going to be a rather quick duel. Hi, Ian. Crossroads for Moya. should be making the Czech fans very happy. Yeah, that's actually it. There's no mathematical way for Pyro to win this game, even if Moya cooperates at this point. Because this here city is not going to be completed. This here city is not going to be completed. This here city, I don't know, but there are just simply so few tiles remaining that even with cooperation, which of course is not going to happen, I doubt it's going to get completed. I wonder if we're gonna see a record or something, because Spyro scored 7 points during the game. It is just abysmally low. 3 points for a road. I believe it was this here road early on. And 3 points for and 4 points for this here city cap, and that's it. And all other Pyro's meeples got frozen. And Martin just getting a couple of points. Well, Pyro at the very least gets himself the Dorito tile, which will deny the invasion to Moya. And yeah, it's a very, very rough position to be in. You know, like the hopelessness. Like once the crossroads has been drawn, like you know that you're losing this game, but you have to sit through the remaining 10 tiles and just think about what you've done. Wait, 10 seconds for Moya! Man, like he's really playing with fire with his time. Because last week, well, actually, I wasn't streaming this, but Nalahai was streaming this, and Ice Maze as well. Last week, Moya won a game on time against Patrick Bekkenot of the Netherlands, and this was when Patrick was in a winning position and just thought for a little bit too long on his last turn, and Moya was about to return the favor to Pyro, but 7 seconds still separates Moya from a lot of pain. Anyway, yeah, congratulations to Martin and a lot of Czech fans. I felt like in the second one, the Japanese master was outplayed a bit. 68-49, a very low-scoring games, and a 2-0 victory. Not what I would expect. I expected something tighter, but this was probably the most important table for Czechs to hold. Now, let's just see what else is happening. So, first of all, let me just do some quick updates. Wait. How can I do this? Oh yeah, there we go. Let me try this. Okay. And let me try this. Just trying some new things. Actually, no, I think I can just close this down. Oh, perfect. Yeah, we can have ourselves updates. So, Snow Island, as we predicted, defeated Chomps with 2-0 on table 1. Moya just won right now. And big upset on table 3 is 30 RT. Won against Pavel on table 3. I did not expect this one. In the meantime, Martin Celinak is ahead on table 4 and Keith is ahead on table 5. So the favorites are winning. And Japan is really just one game away. of winning the match. So let's see if we can witness this. Why don't we watch ourselves? Let's just see who's. So it's going to be either. No. This is already the next match. So how was Marty doing? Actually, no, let's watch Keither instead. Because this could be the Japanese victory in the match right there. Oh, look at this 1 point difference against Michael in the first game. They're obviously almost finishing the second. So those of you who are rooting for Czechia need to root for Michael very, very hard. And so do neutral fans to keep the intrigue alive, to keep the suspense alive in this match. But it does not look very good for Czechia here, at least on the scoreboard, as Michael is 15 points down against the two menacing black meeples of Keithram. We see some field fights going on. Okay, you know what? Michael has some stuff on the board. First of all, this red 9-point farmer against this 1 point blocked meeple is going to be quite painful. Then, you know, there's this 3-point road for Keithra blocked, I think, or close to blocked. And then 2-point road for Michael blocked as well. Then a bunch of block stuff over here. Hey, and Michael has this big ruin. Actually, this is not looking that bad. And I believe that Michael is even ahead by a little bit. The one problem, of course, is the extra meeple for Keithra, which can be used to score 4 or 5 points for the city, for example, depends on the remaining tiles. So, Michael really needs to come up with scoring opportunities. So what do we have here? Well, we have a road monastery available. So it is not crazy to just bet your game on the road monastery and do something like this. And simply say, hey, there's a 40% chance that I'm going to draw that tile, and there's nothing that you can do about this. And this might be the best that yellow got, that red got, right? So we just go here and we go for big points. And I don't think there's anything on the board that will allow Keithra to deal with that. Another option is to try and score quick points and get a meeple back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's still a curve remaining. Yeah, so this is the other option, but with a meeple, man. With a meeple, you do this stuff with a meeple. Oh, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. The pain, painful pain. Pain is so painful. So if there were only one curve available, then you leave this alone. Oh, the pain. This is the game-losing mistake for Michael. It hurts. But also a lesson in tactics. If you can't calculate through the options, and if you want to, go for this pattern where you kind of try to build a 4-point road, 5-point road, or whatever, and get a meeple back, if there are 2 curvy tiles or more, which was the case, then you place a meeple there. Because a situation where your opponent gets a curvy tile and then you get a curvy tile is super likely. The other alternative is that if there were only 1 curvy tile remaining, then you leave this empty to set up a coin flip. That's a big, big difference. And so this move was statistically so much less likely to win than the same move with a meeple. Yeah, and now I believe Michael is officially toast. I'm not really sure what he can do. Oh yeah, maybe he can go here and set up a road monastery like this. And then if he gets a road monastery, for which there's 1 in 3 chance, he can go here for 6 points, and then it's going to be 9 points because this city will be becoming part of this here field. No, it won't. I'm hallucinating again. Why am I doing this? Yeah, so the best that he has is probably setting up 8 points, but that's still, it's too weak, and we just gave away 5 points away for Keithra. Oh, the pain. Yeah, that was the idea for Michael. Keithra gets the road monastery, and Oh, the splitter. Oh, it's going to be painfully close. It's going to be painfully close, but I think that these 5-point roads is going to make all the... Wait, there was a third curvy tile? There was a third curvy tile. How do you not place a meeple like this, man? I guess the lesson is don't put yourself into time trouble in the end game. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, anyway, we hope that the Czech player does remember this lesson for the future, because really, you know, it's like one thing to make a mistake and then lose, but then to make a mistake and then see the winning run out of tiles in front of your eyes is much more painful. Yeah, and actually Red was in a really good position here, because Red had this setup and this setup as well, of course, for multiple more points. And look how close this game is going to be. Seven points. So this means this 10-point mistake is what made all the difference in the world. So if Michael meeples this road, then he gets 5 points more, and Keither gets 5 points less. And that is something that could haunt him for quite a while. But that's part of this game. Yeah, you know what? On the other hand, though, Keither had another critical tile, this divider that could go here for 11 points. So in that sense, I guess I can see more ideas why you want to leave this empty. But you can't. With 3 curves, you really can't. Yeah, also think about it. So there were 6 tiles unseen, 5 tiles in the deck, and 1 in Keither's hand. So half of the tiles in the deck were curvy tiles. So that's a very good chance, first of all, for you to get your meeple back, either now or in the next move, or even now. Like, it's a 50% chance to get your meeple back immediately with 5-point extra. You just have to go for opportunities like this. Yeah. Well, anyway, the pain has been felt. It has been explained. It has been savored and described. And now it's time to move to our last remaining game, which is between Marty Party and Nanatakyu, I believe. But Japan has already won this match, 3-1. Oh, what is that about? It's a bit of a slow refresh. Oh, okay, we have a decider. So Japan could, in theory, even win the 4-1. Anyway, our final game. So, Nanatakyu with blue meeples, Marty Party with green. Wait, let me just check the scoreboard again. What's with that? Why doesn't it not like the scoreboard? Okay, let me just give it a try. Huh. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna fix this later. I'm experimenting with new settings, but at least it worked for the first part of the stream. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna put it back at some point. Just got a comment on the game. Anyway, 2 points extra for the Japanese player, and overall a much better position. So first of all, let's just look at what's happening on the board. Mini battle here, 1 versus 2, pretty insignificant. Then this city here by blue is kind of obstructed, but there's still plenty of tiles that fit into this square. So we don't expect anything bad to happen to this blue meeple anytime soon. 1 pointers for both opponents in safe places, and now the 2 main features. Blue has a pretty well-developed city over here, and whilst it cannot be completed in 1 move, green cannot really attack it until green deals with 1 significant threat. His city here is about to get blocked. First of all, there's already only 1 tile remaining in the deck that fits here, and second of all, probably now none. No, oh, yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. You know why? Because, oh man, I got scared here for a second. It looks like he's trying to save the city, but not really, because of course all the 3 triple cities have gone out, so there is nothing that fits into the square anymore. And if anything, Martin's super lucky to get himself a crossroad tiles in a pool which is running a bit short in crossroad tiles, because at the very least he's saving himself 1 meeple and also threatening another meeple of his opponent. Which also means that Nagataku now can't really go here to develop his city, and instead he has to go here for defense, which gives Marty a chance to do something like this, and probably even leave us without a meeple, actually, to just not allow Nanataku finish an easy city. And now actually I'm thinking, was it crazy for blue to just sacrifice this meeple for the threat of completing that city and just using the cow tile over here to try and make it grow? Maybe not, but it's certainly something that's tempting. Because, you see, when I see this tile here, this city's really not going to become dangerous anytime soon. Because when you look at cities like this, the main pattern how you're going to build them up is multiple Doritos. But we're so short on 1 type of Doritos that this city becomes much easier to block. Let's say we go here at some point as blue, and then green does just this, right? Sticks in a road there, and then there's only 1 tile remaining that fits. So maybe for this meeple we needed to wait for an extender or a divider or something like this. Yeah, maybe that was the move, but it's not one that's easy to pull your trigger on. Because you know what Marty's chance here is? That if he goes here, stops the city, with a meeple or without, we can quibble, and then maybe he blocks this city, then suddenly we're equal on meeples. Yeah, so Marty decides to place a meeple there to reduce variance. Now with still 3 tiles that fit here, there's no guarantee that we're gonna successfully block it, so he just figures, you know, why don't we just keep things as they are? Marty continues his city next to Blue's monastery. Blue's getting himself a crossroad tile for 2 quick points. As Blue actually, I think I would have taken these 2 points here, just to potentially eliminate a monastery spot, or the opposite, create a monastery spot, but this actually also makes... No, this makes a lot of sense. Yeah, this move actually makes a lot of sense. Anyway. Blue has caught up on the scoreboard a little bit. Marty drops the first farmer, whilst also obstructing Nana's city. Marty continues to extend his other city. This is starting to look a bit better for green now. I doubt the urgency of dropping his farmers, but the idea is that this city is going to get finished, this city is going to get finished, this farm is going to be at the very least 9. The problem is that when he's running out of meeples, it's a bit harder to go over here for an 8-point monastery. But this monastery is so lucrative that you should still do it regardless. There's still plenty of city caps to get one or both of your meeples back, and if we go here, there's actually no way to get blocked in one move. I guess the worst that could happen is if our opponent gets a crossroads, goes here, and then leaves only one tile that's available for this square. But there's really no justification for not going over here. And just double check the tile counts. The Checkmaster understands this. And Nana could block. Maybe Nana should block, actually. Just because there are 5 remaining straight lines. And by doing something like this, as crazy as it seems, or something like this, then you're just delaying this monastery and making sure that Marty stays without meeples for longer. That's also a pretty smart move. Trying to block Green's city. That's actually pretty nice. He's going to go here. And with 3 horses gone, it's already possible with many tiles, with any city tile, in fact, to go here and block this city permanently. Marty gets a monastery. Now, he can't meeple all of them, but he can still make productive moves. And going here and saving 5 tiles that fit into this square does seem like a viable solution to me. Now, it will be eliminating starting tiles in crossroads, but it's not something to be worried about, because starting tiles we already need here, and crossroads we can use here to pre-build this 4-point road, also to pre-build this other road with a chance to maybe get a Dorito tile. And I don't like this move by Marty. I can understand this, but a direct defense was in fact better here. I think the issue is, I think the Czech player just did not see this here road pattern and the opportunity to build a road all the way through that here square. But what do we know? Marty gets a meeple back, and so he escapes unscathed. Although, you know, doing this would have achieved the same thing, just slightly better. Nana with a city cap. Now, putting a lot of pressure on this guy, and in fact, any city tile is going to block him. So, from Marty's perspective, it's not crazy to do this. Let me just make it full screen first. From Marty's perspective, yeah, because you know why? So think about this, right? Blue is going to get some sort of a Dorito or a cow tile, and just blue is going to go over here and block us here forever. If we do this, at the very least, we're preserving the chance to get himself what? These guys, right? And honestly, I would have done it. I would have just done it. Now, Nana has a similarly difficult decision. Like, does he go here? I think he doesn't, because that's not a real defense. No, I mean, that's not a real block. That's a defense, actually. Marty chose not to defend, figuring out that maybe there are not that many city plus field tiles for blocking. And so he could defend this later. But with what? Because even if I get a road tile or something... So yeah, we could go here. And again, it's okay. But then we take away the 2 starting tiles that we need. And it's not something that we want to do. And especially with all 3 butterflies already gone, even if we do this, there's still a chance of getting blocked towards the butterfly. And we're also actually doing short for daggers. Yeah, wait, because there's only 1 dagger remaining. Nanataku gets the first starting tile. Can probably just go here or here. Here is better. Yes, yes, yes. Look at these monasteries controlling green meeples. The position started to look pretty good for blue. Blue's really making the most out of his long-term meeple advantage at the moment. Also, I think I know how I can fix the scoreboard. It's just going to take a few minutes. And I want to comment on this game for a little bit longer. But for those of you who are just joining, well, if you don't know the match score, even better. Because the match already has been decided, but if you don't know for whom, then that's better. Yeah, these guys are playing a decider. That's all you need to know. Yeah, Marty in a tricky position, a very nice prioritization by Nanataku, realizing the imbalance of the types of city caps in the remaining to pull many more city plus field tiles than city plus row tiles, and this move is just making sure that Marty needs city plus row tiles everywhere. Marty drops a city cap. Not in my favorite place, really. Maybe just doing it here actually was a little bit better. Actually, no, I think this is fine. I mean, ideally he'd do it in his field, but there was no way to do it in his field. And now Nana is trying to block over here. But there's a way how he himself could become blocked like this. But maybe he doesn't mind, because even if Marty goes over here, then these here guys, there are still two of those. So that's why Marty decides is going to simply continue his road. So he does go for the same pattern that I suggested earlier. Nana with him. Nana with a massive mistake that is going to make Marty's life so much easier. Like, so this move, it doesn't even improve the quality of this city, because this city now becomes more blockable. Like, this was such an easy find at this level, especially. Like, you just go here and block this guy and keep your opponent without a meeple. Now Marty scored 6 points, got himself a meeple back, and now it's looking for green again. Man. Like, when you can block your opponent in one move, it's just really not a difficult decision to make at all. Because I see the point, yeah, so he blocked another Marty's meeple, but it didn't matter to block this meeple that much, because this meeple's already tied to this blue meeple, so you're not getting any net meeple gain. Ouchie, ouchie. And of course, there's one more thing. This guy can get blocked. Well, fortunately for Nana, he gets like the last city plus road city cap to avert a disaster, and at the very least he's still in this game. Marty has the 6-point field, which the Japanese player did a good job of limiting. And actually, Blue still has a chance to finish his monastery for 9 points, which would put him at a meeple advantage. Then there's some potential for a counter field here. There's a 4-point road, which maybe could be meepled, maybe not. Decides Marty. He figures that the meeple advantage is important, and he wants to try and block this square, which makes a lot of sense. Nanataku does not get himself a defense. So really nothing much we can do except for this. That would be a very strong move. Severe limiting Marty's field, and still keeping his chances alive. Because at the moment there's balance, right? So these two meeples are balanced. 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 So like there's a lot of one-on-one mini battles where Blue actually comes up on top overall. Let's just have a look. So this here, -1 for Blue. This is 6 points versus 1. This is +5 for Blue. This city versus this city, it's -1 for Blue, but with a chance of expanding the city later, unlike this guy, which is going to stay here forever. And then 3 points against this 5, but again, chances to expand, so +2. And then this field is going to be 6 points, and he's probably going to stay at 6 points. Maybe not, but let's see. So this monastery is 8. This city is 6, so it's like +2. So overall, +7 in mini battles on the board is an advantage for Nana, putting them at +3 at the moment. It's a very nice position to be in. The only issue is that this move is smarter than I thought. It's not just to create a blocking platform against this square, which is, of course, it's still the main purpose of this move, but it is also to give ourselves a crucial green square for field development. Even if we get just one city cap, or preferably some sort of divider, then that's already an opportunity to get 7 points, and that's a pretty big deal. Now, so Marty's slightly behind in this one. He can win by developing his field, or he can win by scoring quick points somewhere. That's really the plan. There's also one more monastery remaining in the deck, and I can also anticipate a combo like this. That's kind of hard to see. So you can go here for 4 points, and then you can get the last divider and go like this and drop a farmer for 6 points, and then threaten further points with city caps, provided that you have enough meeples for this. Yeah, so this might not be the best monastery spot, but just because it comes with an extra field threat makes it pretty nice. And the time advantage favors Japan as well. Yeah, so he's thinking with this straight line a lot, and it seems to me that it is between two moves. It's either blocking this crucial square, not allowing Marty to get this divider, or just taking 1 point for the monastery. Yep, I can understand him. I can understand him, right? So he goes for this point with the idea that this divider can still. Basically, if you were to block the square, then he'd be scoring less, and this divider can still go on top of this monastery. But Marty makes a very smart move. So first of all, he drops a city cap in his field, and of course he also blocks this square. Because there are no vanilla city caps remaining there, Nana-Takyu now decides to limit the city cap instead of scoring. And it might have been a wise choice, at least with this tile draw, because if you were to go over here, Marty would have meepled this new city and threatened 11 points for an 8-point city plus 3 for the farmer. But another thing that Marty can do, he can just go here and score 5, and maybe try to build up here a little bit. I'm not sure if that hits his best move, but he's considering this. Also, there's still a tile for Marty to go here. The last remaining cow tile fits there, and that would be a net 5-point game for Marty. So the Czech player has setups. Nana-Takyu, of course, if he's going to get that cow tile, he's going to go here and build himself more stuff. Marty just decides to take 2 points, which makes sense. Nana-Takyu is having a curve. And then it's not obvious what you're going to do. Do you going to go here and score 5 points? Or do you going to go here and just add yourself monastery points? But then this would also create a volatile spot here. But actually that's maybe a good thing. You see there's one crossroads remaining, if I counted correctly, and yes, I did. There's one crossroads remaining. And so somebody can go here and score 5 points. But if that were to happen, the monastery of green would, the monastery of blue would be still being developed. So that's kind of nice to have. Yeah, I'd go for it. I'd go for it, especially since Marty has other high-scoring tiles, like the horse, no, the cow, which still goes here. Also, you know what crazy possibility there is? Marty, or either player for that matter. Oh, wow, with the meeple, that's something. I guess he wants to make sure that he does score for this road, that Marty doesn't score for this road. I'm not sure if that was worth doing necessarily, but let's see if that pays off. I wouldn't have placed the meeple there. I would have just left this alone. Because you can score more than 4 points from meeple in other places. But anyway, check this out. So there's one Dorito, one cow tile, and one of these. And if Marty were to draw that combination, he can go here, place a meeple here, get a Dorito to connect, and get a triple city to overrun and score something like 28 points with a 2 versus 1 majority. I wonder if either player sees that opportunity. If they do, then it's not a crazy idea for non-Ataku to do something like this. Because he's now ahead a little bit more after developing his monastery. I just didn't count exactly. And if we go here, we eliminate the biggest threat that our opponent has. If we draw the cow tile, we can still place it here for further development. If we draw the crossroads, we can still go here, of course. Or if we get blocked, we can still score. But I think he's really, really tunneling on that crossroads too hard. All right, are we going to see it? Are we going to see it? Are we going to see the content move? And yes, he goes for it. No. But immediately it gets resolved and Marty is not going to connect to the big city. But he might still win this if he gets himself just a regular Dorito tile. Sure, he's not going to connect the other guy, but still, that would be a nice move to make. Now, is he going to get the Dorito? He is not the statistical favorite to do so anymore. And non-Ataku is going to get the Dorito as well, and he's going to develop a huge ruin, and he's going to win this game. Marty Party, of course, going to get a crossroads, which is not going to score him much. It's going to score him 3 points. Most important, is going to deny 2 points in a meeple back to non-Ataku. But, yeah, another curve. Nana's going to score a 5-point road. And actually, yeah, this 4-point meeple ends up mattering quite a bit. And Marty's not going to be having a party. That is one thing that I can tell you. So Czechia going to lose this match 4-1, a match where I think they were the favorites. Of course, on table, was that 3? Where Posse lost 2-0. That was the major upset, and now we're having ourselves another one. Still, respect for Marty. Like, yes, he generally tends to keep his cool, and he likes to play precise endgames even when he's losing. So, for example, he had many places where he could have scored 3 points. For example, 3 points for the city, or 3 points for the farmer. And he chose 3 points for this farmer just to block the roads a little bit and deny non-Ataku 1 more points with this tile. And Nana was just forced to discard this tile, essentially. So, still a very nice touch by Marty. Let's see what the difference is. Some low-scoring games today. Lots of blocked stuff. And Marty's going to score under 60 here. He's going to have all the field points. All the field points in the world. And that's still going to leave him at 58. 58-69 in the score. Nana with 30 seconds on his clock and 0 farmers placed for the duration of the entire game. Takes this one down. Delivers a comeback win and very, very good tiebreakers for the Japanese team. So 4-1 is the final score. Let me just check on that sweet scoreboard again. Oh, and it's back, and I don't need to fix it. Okay, lovely. We just leave this alone. Oh, actually, no, we don't, because you can just look for it for a second. It's going to be updated soon enough that 3-2 is the score. No, 4-1. 4-1 is the score. And we are going to be headed into our next match soon enough. I just need to do this. And just do a bit of magic to switch the scoreboard to another match. It's the first time I'm actually doing this, so bear with me. I'm actually kind of excited to try already. Does this work like this? No, not like this. Oh. No, there's just a little piece that I need to change. Alrighty. It's going to take a little bit. In the meantime, I'm going to go to the games. So China, Hong Kong has started about half an hour ago, and that's our secondary match of the day, but it's quite interesting. Mainland China, of course, are going to be the favorite here with 2 World Championship semi-finalists. Self-evident from 2023, who's paired against LSC. That's Daniel Ching from Hong Kong, who also used to represent Taiwan and almost used to represent the United Kingdom, finishing 2nd at the British Championship in 2022. LSC, I think the strongest player in Hong Kong, together with Sunny 369. Still, self-evident is, I think, a little bit of a level above, so should be a favorite for Table 1. On Table 2, massive favorite for Dr. Tsai Han, whose peak rating is over 800, and he has appeared as the protagonist in one of my most viewed videos on the channel in the first episode of Move of the Week. Table 3 should be very interesting, and this is the one I'm planning to follow. So Sunny369, the other master from Hong Kong, is going to be playing against Secret Star, and this is where Hong Kong is going to have an advantage. But Secret Star is a very interesting player, has been around a block, high expert level for sure. And I have special memories about this player because I have a very, very negative record against them. When I just joined Board Game Arena in 2021, I think I took a beating of like 5 games in a row and learned some important concept about how to not play big field. So I'll be interested in watching this. Table 4, pretty even between 203 Club and Eastung. 203 Club is going to be higher rated because I believe they had Crossmaster threshold, but rating isn't everything. On Table 5, Bilal Aferi, the other semi-finalist from 2024, is going to be playing against CTCD. So overall advantage for China. I think what Hong Kong needs to do is just Sunny would need to deliver on Table 3. LSC would need to try and persevere against QAZ or Self-Evident, and maybe some sort of upset somewhere else, maybe on Table 4. So that would possibly be the plan. My plan is just to follow really Sunny's games, especially since you remember last week we streamed together in person. I had him over here, and we did a lot of opening study and practice, and very interesting to see if he's going to put it into good use. And it appears to be the case so far, as Sunny is ahead 15 points against Secret Star in what seems to be their second game. Okay, there we go. But Secret Star has won the first one, and in fact, China has won all the first 5 games. Yatesy. So let me just try and I just need to change this a little bit. Yeah, I just need to just show more stuff, right? It should be pretty easy. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that was actually much easier than I thought. Okay. Maybe not the neatest way, but you can see all the scores, right? That's what matters. So yeah, mainland China is doing great. Maybe not in this particular game, where you can see a lot of blue meeples on fields and stuff. Yeah, all blue meeples are really well deployed, actually. So what does red have? Well, red has 15 points fewer on the scoreboard. Red has the main field of the game here for 18 with 1 meeple, and a second 6-point field to support, ready to merge. Probably Sunny's best bet is just to go here at some point and merge the 2 fields so that red loses the 6 points. The other route is just hope that these fields don't merge and then you attack this field again somehow, but there's no reason to do that when you're 15 points ahead on the scoreboard and when you have a 7-point monastery and a 3-point city and a 6-point field and another 6-point field and a 7-point ruin and a 7-point road, which I believe still can be finished, not that it matters necessarily. With 5 minutes on the clock, Sunny now needs to make a decision whether it is worth to continue his road or not. And he decides that it is not worth it. And the reason why he chose not to do it, even though it would increase both the safety of his road and his field as well, is because Sunny wants to finish his city. But now he's going to regret that decision because Secret Star with a crucial meeple over here is going to connect to that road and deny Sunny these 7 points. Moreover, Mr. Star here can go here and drop a farmer if he so chooses, and then once a curve is drawn, he's going to connect both to the road and the field. So that would be a 13-point combo, in fact, for red, and he goes for it. Yeah, this is not a road move, this is the farming move. Although, ooh! Is he gonna lose a lot of meeples? Well, let's see. So Mr. Star takes 3 points. Is Sunny gonna block that road? And no, he does not get a blocking tile because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, still 2 regular curves remain. So if we do something like this, it really doesn't do much for us. But then there's also another problem. If Sunny doesn't do anything to that square, which he really can't, then Mr. Star can take 1 curve and drop a farmer here, and then with another curve, go here, connecting the roads, bringing in this farmer to the top field, and this hypothetical farmer to the bottom field, making 6 plus 6 plus 7, 19 points with just 1 tile. Not something that Sunny can prevent. And in fact, actually, Sunny has, yeah, there we go, 6-point monastery, very strong move. And he can also, so you see the point for of the 6-point monastery, now farmer, okay. Monastery is fine, I guess. Sunny connects the field here. Now, we have to go here as Mr. Charn. We have to drop this farmer. We have to drop for the last curve because from a Chinese player's perspective, the position is horrible. Sunny has way too many points, and he's gonna go for the farm. Yes, he sees this pattern. It's a absolutely lovely spatial vision from the mysterious celestial object. Three minutes and 45 seconds. On Sunny's clock. Oh, check this out. Also, it's very nice. We have 2 stars competing. Sunny and a generic star. And there we go. The curve has been drawn by the Chinese player. So talk about the ultimate setup. Oh man, I wish I had time to do the move of the week segment again. I'm just so swamped with other content that I have to make. But this setup would absolutely go into, like, this would be absolutely move of the week material. And Yeah, Sunny's position... I'm not sure about Sunny's position. Well, Secret Star is going to make 5 more points, right? 4 for the city in the shared field, 1 for the monastery. Still Sunny's ahead on the scoreboard. And he still can score a little bit for this 5-point ruin, which I think should still be enough for him. The big field belongs to Secret Star, but it does not appear to be enough, does it? GG singular, says Sunny, implying that it's going to be a decider at some point. $16 points still the difference. The master from Hong Kong is taking the lead. Well, not taking the lead. He's just equalizing the match. And we're headed into a decider. So yeah, obviously there was no chance realistically for Secret Star to win this, but still, you gotta respect the hustle. Like, you gotta respect... Like, talk about fighting until the end. Who thought that in a position as dry as this, you could set up a 20-point move, actually, a 20-point move with the curve? Because it also adds 1 extra point to the monastery. I think I said 19 earlier. Anyway, that was fun. Okay, now these guys are about to start their 3rd game, and we're going to watch that in our... Wait, what is that? Oh man, I have to play Arena again. I don't want to. Wait. I just... Why do I keep clicking things? Yeah, there we go. The game has started. So Secret Star is going to be the starting player with Red Meeple, Sunny with his usual green. The starting player advantage goes a long way, but the worst starting tile, at least the least impactful starting tile, is drawn by red. Oh, that's a shame we couldn't start, we couldn't go from the start. Because apparently the first game was very lopsided and it's very fun to watch. And also Sunny lost, which makes it even more fun to watch. Alrighty, so Secret Star lost a minute on the clock for some reason. Must have been some sort of distraction. But away we go off to the races. A red starts with the usual curve upward. It's just the unusual orientation on the left. Sunny with a city and I think a too quick decision. I mean, this move certainly makes sense, but I think this move would also not that bad just to control some green squares. Anyway, this is kind of nice still, with the idea of maybe starting a mini battle in the square, tying the fates of the red road together with the blue city. In any case, Mr. Star with the first monastery of the game, several absolutely amazing spots. So you could go here for 4 points, supporting your road, controlling the road end and so on with some nice stacking options. And he goes for this, but this option was just as legit. Going here, controlling the city of Sunny, and setting up another monastery over here in this square. There are pros and cons for both. Maybe the pros of that other option was the fact that Sunny wouldn't be allowed to do something like this, because the monastery, Red's monastery, the way it plays now, it controls a bit less space. But then it's a very, very powerful monastery. Mr. Star now has a variety of options. Now, the greediest move, and the one which I like the most, is a move something like this. Possibly even with a meeple on the city cap. And it's something that I would generally advise against, with the exception that you really know what you're doing. Because that's a way to get your 2 meeples trapped, but that's a very efficient way of building. You know, we're setting up the curve to finish a road for 6 points, and he finds it. Okay, Farmer also... Farmer, I'm not a huge fan. I mean, it totally works. Okay, now I'm a fan. Now I'm a fan. You see, but the thing with the farmer is, like, sometimes a straight line is placed here, and sometimes a curve is placed here, and sometimes Sonny gets himself something like a horse stall here, and then this guy sometimes gets restricted. So this was a bit of an unnecessary risk. But I think when you make tiles like these, the first instinct is that, well, I have to put a meeple somewhere. I have to put a meeple somewhere. And yeah, so far it's now a really, really good position for red. Like, this tile, it's pretty much the best that red could have drawn, because he also gets this extra city cap in his field, and to support his monastery is just absolutely amazing. Sunny now, of course, is trying to do this, and he benefits quite a lot from this here tile by Secret Star. And look how important this move was. Look how important this move was, because look at this. Secret Star was using this tile just to get himself a meeple back, and this allowed Sunny to have more time to clean off the city cap. So this here idea of starting the mini battle with Red's Road could make all the difference in the world. Sunny now with a triple city tile, looking to develop his city on the left, which, yes, oh, what's a wonderful move. So look at this, he figured that this city is not as strong, and then now he's starting another mini battle, tying the fate of this city together with the fate of this monastery. Now red has to help this city of blue before he can finish his monastery, and red has, of course, another fantastic monastery spot. It's still an incredibly difficult position for blue, because these monasteries are so good, but after the continuation of this here city, this monastery is mildly vulnerable with an L formation. Maybe a Dorito goes here, maybe a curve goes here, maybe these 2 meeples are trapped. It's certainly something that the Hongkongese, I forgot what the adjectives, could you please remind me in the chat? One adjective was Hong Konger, I believe, but this is how you kind of say it as a noun. But if player from Hong Kong, another say this to play a blank player, is that Hong Kongolese or something like this? Anyway, Hong Kongese, or is it just Hong Kongese? Anyway, a Dorito does go here, and this monastery does get blocked. Still a good position for a Secret Star, because this monastery is scoring points, and this farmer with 9 points is absolutely excellent. There are no real good platforms for invasion. I mean, there's this one, of course, but it goes through Red's monastery, and we really don't want to help Red monastery from Blue's perspective, and it would also make this Blue city more vulnerable, and Blue should be wanting to finish this. There's really no justification into getting that blocked, so much so that a move like this to save the integrity of this meeple is certainly tempting. I think it's still not the best move, but I think it's the second best move. So a move like this by Sunny, or simply like this, finishing the road and starting a new one, is better for a variety of reasons. First of all, because this road was also vulnerable, and second, because the blocks here are not like that dangerous. If Secret Star gets a straight line, we'll still have 3 starting tiles to finish our city. And conversely, if we do go here for this defense, we can't use starting tiles anymore. Ooh, ouchie, ouchie. That's a strong block by Secret Star here, because it poses some big problems. If Sunny goes here, then he does prolong his city by quite a bit, but the chances of finishing it go down so much. Yeah, I'm really not sure what to recommend. I think I would not do that. I think I'd just do something else. Because now Mr. Star is going to go over here. The ruins of Sunny are going to be connected all the way through. That's a lot of fun. Because Mr. Star going to do this. Sunny's, like, he's going to also get himself one other horse. Go here, and Blue's going to have this monstrosity just controlling the north of the map. This is so fun. And this 9-point farmer also has this green square for further development, which is actually a very big deal. So from Sunny's perspective, I'd really be looking forward for a straight line, like ASAP, Yeah, with this here move, as Sunny, I probably would have been a bit more patient. I would have actually preferred something like this, so that in case we need, this ruin on the left is still completable, and this is something that is important if you think about long-term winning probability. So when you start cities like this and you get a couple of big clunkers at the start, you see that the ruin scores 6 points, which is sort of enough. So the ruin scores 6 points, which is sort of enough, right? And then you don't have to finish it in order to justify the meeple. But just because you don't have to finish it does not mean that you shouldn't ever try. Because if, I don't know, imagine if Red gets like 2 more monasteries at some point and we are severely behind on the scoreboard, then it's very nice to have the opportunity to just try and brute force the completion of that big city as a potential pathway to win the game. It might never come down to that, but keeping the options open is certainly something nice. Mr. Star here now, they'll make something that I perceive to be a serious strategic mistake. Invading this city over here should make Sunny and all Hong Kong fans take a gigantic sigh of relief. Because this meeple now needs not to be worried about its safety anymore, since its fate is tied together with this red guy. Also, this monastery here now has a problem. Now, there are some options where maybe Secret Star could draw a starting tile, which would be very, very bad for Sunny, because then, of course, there would be another monastery setup. But there are some other ideas here, as Secret Star is starting a 7th field, and also something like a secondary field, something that I don't think is a wise decision at all, and we're going to talk about this in a second. So there's another possibility. Imagine if Sunny gets a dagger like this. He's going to go here, maybe at some point, and then he's going to draw the road monastery. He's going to trap this red meeple whilst keeping this blue meeple alive. So this is really not what you want to do for the shape of the board. Now, another reason, why do I not like the second farmer so much? Well, the reason why I don't like the second farmer so much is that after this move, so let's say these meeples are equal, these meeples are equal, Secret Star is at a meeple disadvantage because of his blocked monastery over here, and crucially because he has already invested himself on this field. And 9 points for a farmer is sort of okay, but not really. You want to get a little bit more, and this tile for Secret Star was just so much incomparably better over here, because that was setting up himself a 12-point short at some point. Or even over here, that would have been just fine. But now, after this move, this field potential is severely restricted. And remember, I was talking about this straight line from 5 moves ago. An absolutely crucial tile for the shape of the board. But now from Star's perspective, we're having some other problems, because now we've invested a farmer here, which can be developed. We're at a long-term meeple disadvantage because we're assuming that Sunny's going to finish the city, and we've started another field in another part of the board. Now, who's going to win the field at the bottom? That's not going to be the side with the meeple minority. It's going to be the side with the meeple majority. Sunny's going to finish this road for 3 points. This city for 8, in all likelihood, unless Secret Star manages to find a sequence of blocking tiles. Then here, Finishing a city, dropping a farmer, connecting here, dropping a farmer, connecting here. 15-point farm, win the game for blue. Very easy. And then these monasteries, which looked menacing at the start, they're going to be no match to this bottom field, which is going to go to epic proportions. So what do we do here? A secret star. Well, there are several options with this tile, and this was certainly one of them. Not one which I really like, because I really want to keep the option open for getting ourselves the starting tile and this other monastery as a scoring mechanism. So I would have probably just scored 4 points here, just because 4 points are 4 points are 4 points. Paraphrasing a famous poem. Oh, actually, it could even apply to Carcassonne if you draw, how do you call this? A city cap with a crossroads. Because then you could say that a rose is a rose is a rose. Anyway. Secret Star finishes his monastery. Sunny gets himself the first monastery for himself. And he has his highest scoring move is scoring 3 points over here, which of course, as many of you know, it would be a horrible decision because it would expand the farm of red by so much and it would just undo all the good work of blocking said farm. Sunny is still 3 points behind on the scoreboard, and still these blocked meeples by red, they're going to score 17. So the player from Hong Kong still needs to work a lot, and this move I actually quite like. So it is a 5-point monastery. It pre-builds a road that is going through Blue City, which Blue is going to take with either the rose tile, which is a rose, or with some sort of dagger perhaps. Now this tile is certainly problematic because Sunny is now not able to finish his city here, and Sunny now decides to do something quite interesting. So he just takes 1 point here, creating a platform to potentially attack this field in the future, but then also giving an extra green square to Secret Star. But I think the main idea is that now Sunny sees that this city on the left is actually very much completable. So are we going to see a content move? Are we going to see a self-invasion, like going here and with the meeple, and then we just bet everything on this city? I don't think it would be a good move, but it would be fun. And what matters more? Do you really lose a Carcassonne game if you've had fun along the way? Yes, yes you do. And then you betray your team because your team was counting on you. How can you possibly look them in the eye? But he goes for this without the self-invasion. Okay, this move is less of a content move. It's actually a decent move. It's also covering up an invasion platform for his city. And in case he draws a lot of Doritos, and there's still 4 Doritos, so if he draws all 4 of them, look at this here pattern. It's not entirely impossible, actually. And also what I like about this configuration, as soon as we get just 1 Dorito, let's say here, then we can easily lure a meeple from our opponent. Because if we go here, our city becomes more threatening, our opponent wants to invade over here, but then we just go over here and we block the square and our opponent has lost a meeple for 1 point. But instead, our opponent is trying to invade the meeple at the top, which I don't think is the best move ever. Because from Sunny's perspective, we could just block, right? Or should we? Oh, this gets very interesting. So we could go here, leaving only 1 tile that fits into the square and keeping this guy stranded. But since 1 tile is not 0 tiles, I probably would prefer to just go here and try to YOLO the completion of this city. I honestly, on the left, this looks pretty decent. And this triple city tile is crucial for our city completion chances because we can go here and then we don't need 4 Doritos, we just need 3 Doritos and a city cap. A much more likely combo. And then still, we can block that square a little bit later. We can also ignore everything and score points. If not for this invasion, we would have scored 4 points over here. And now doing so in a city that we're about to lose is reckless. At the very least, now that we drew this triple city tile, we know that this city is going to stay incompleted. And Sunny goes for the human move, which makes a lot of sense. So a 50-50 chance of a successful block. He's also setting up some road moves that he can use over here. He has some other threats. Now a monastery cluster for blue. The one problem for blue is that somehow this field idea for Secret Star should not have worked out, but it did. Because these cities are not going to be completed anytime soon. If they are, they're on Red's field, and they are, surprisingly, no good platforms for invasion, because Red did an excellent job with these curves, keeping the field really tight. This monastery, of course, is a huge draw. Now Sunny has a mechanism to use road tiles productively. So I still prefer blue's position at this point, but this triple city tile could do quite a lot. High Krish. 6 points extra for the Chinese player. I think the main decision he's trying to make, is it worth going over here and partially blocking the city? It has some pros and cons. Actually, it has only cons, because 3 tiles is just too many, and then how are we going to continue that block? So this move is not crazy, because there's only 1 dagger remaining to fit into that square, and there are no butterfly tiles, aka rose tiles, aka barbed wires, aka a bunch of other things. Yeah, and he does this. It's a very tricky find. He even meeples the road for insurance. Honestly, I'm not sure he has the meeples to afford this, but you still kind of have to do this. Sunny trying to block the invasion. No. Yeah. Trying to block the invasion, and Secret Star does not get a good defense tile. Well, actually, it can be still used for indirect defense. It can also be used for a bunch of other things. Yeah, this is a very good move here by Sunny, making it much harder. No, that was a good move by Secret Star, making it much harder to place something that fits here. But you know what? Starting tile, 3 starting tiles still go over here, and that's the main chance for Sunny. Sunny, of course, needs a starting tile over here. So this is one of the reasons why maybe the block here is not coming anytime soon. But it's also possible to draw a Dorito tile and then block towards the quadruple city tile, which is no longer existent. A diagonal splitter tile would accomplish the same purpose. And of course, we always need to remember that blue could simply draw the 1 remaining triple city for connection himself. Now, the last move by blue, actually, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, just developing the monastery. It says putting his monasteries in danger a little bit. Actually, yeah, maybe I would have waited a little bit, but you know, whatevs. He's about to get his monastery meeples back. 1 starting tile has been dodged by Secret Star. I presume Mr. Star is going to do something productive with it. We can't go here for 4 points because that'll be blocking our own invasion. We can't be developing our road and giving ourselves a city cap in our field. Yeah, that looks actually about right. So Sunny finally gets at least 1 meeple back, but he's going to lose his city in all likelihood. So let's see. Ouchie, ouchie. Mr. Star successfully defends this here square, so it's a 50-50 chance of him connecting here. Looking already better for the Chinese player. Quick points for Sunny. He chose not to defend his meeple, which is understandable with few tiles remaining. 6 points extra on the scoreboard for the Hong Konger. Sunny is trying to finish a city there, and he can still do that. Actually, look at this. He can get still a road Dorito tile for like 12 points or something. And now he gets a vanilla city cap, which of course is not going to go over here. You really want to preserve a crucial tile. He cleans up a city cap in his opponent's field. I think maybe going here instead and meepling the city cap was another way to do things, a preferable way to do things, a much preferable way to do things actually. Or so it seems. Massive field control for Secret Star, but only 10 seconds remaining. There's no way he's going to finish this game on time. There's no way he's going to finish this game on time. Wow. What's the issue? Was that thinking? Was that internet connection? Minus 5 seconds already for Mr. Star. Who continues his road. Also helps out with Sunny's city. But will Sunny notice that he won? Now, the result in this game is clear. Sunny wins this no matter what. Even if he doesn't notice. Because at the end of the game, in the logs, it will be clear who the victor was. In any case, Sunny just draws the crucial tile. At least one of the crucial tiles, so both players draw each other crucial tiles. Now, the Dorito was drawn by red to deny blue this city, and the triple city was drawn by blue to deny red this city. Red developed his field towards the end, actually 12 points over here, 9 points over here, that's pretty decent. But I think that blue would have won this even on the board. Let's see about that though, it's pretty interesting. Actually, maybe not. Oh no, the 5-point road must have helped him. I wasn't counting the points precisely. By 2 points, I think. No. Oh, yes. By 2 points, right? Right? No, by a tie. Oh, this is so much fun. Man, I'm bad at counting points. But yeah, this is a very nice finish. It's quite satisfying, like when you win the game on time, whilst also winning it on the board, so there's just no question whatsoever. Yeah, interesting position. I feel like really a high-level game overall. I feel like blue out-strategized red here a little bit. It was this here decision by red to just relinquish his meeple advantage that just didn't do good things for him, really. And then blue, with a bunch of monasteries, managed to withstand all the field, all the roads, dodged the ruin invasion, and proceeded to give his team a crucial victory already. So how are we doing on the scoreboard? China has won on one table, so 203 Club has successfully defeated both games against Eastern. Who are we going to watch next? I guess let's go to table 1. QAZ between LSC. QAZ, that's of course self-evident. And these guys are playing the decider. Look how close the first game was. This one goes to Xiangyu for 1, and this one goes to Daniel with 2 points. Who's going to take the third one? This could very much be decisive for the entire match. And I believe tables 1 and tables 3 were the ones which Hong Kong would absolutely have to win in order to take this. Let's see if that's going to happen or not. Well, this one's looking pretty good for self-evident, at least first sight. So he has himself 5 points on the scoreboard and a proud 12-point red farmer, which now became prouder because now it's difficult for this farm to be invaded. This is a very standard tactic of securing your farm. You know, there was this little 3-point field on the left for green to use as an attacking platform. Now it's no longer there. So what green has in return? Now this ruin is quite decent. It does take 2 of green's meeples, but it's worth 10 points or something, or 9 points. 5-point road for red, also blocked. A slightly winning mini battle for green over here in this blocked city over here. And 2 monasteries for green. Now that's a pretty big deal. That's 16 points. And I believe no chance to get the meeple back though, so this is a permanent block. There's still a straight line if I'm not mistaken. Moreover, there are 2 of those, but all that this straight line would do is just simply give 1 point to LSC. So verdict, good position for red, especially after this move. Now this has to be painful if you're rooting for Hong Kong. This has to be pretty pleasant if you're rooting for Team China. What can LSC do here? Like, at some point, we gotta need to attack that 12-point field, it seems. But it feels to me a tad too early. But then what else? Do you meeple a 6-point road? Well, no, you can't, because you don't have meeples anymore. And you don't want to leave the city cap on your opponent's field unless 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's only 1 curve remaining. But you know what? Roads like these are not to be overlooked, because imagine, just imagine, if there were like 4 curves remaining. And it can sometimes happen. If there are 4 curves remaining, you can go here, and you have an unblockable sequence to finish a 10-point loop road and get yourself a meeple back. Oh, that would have been so much fun. Wait, this move I just don't get. So he dumps the city cap in his opponent's field. Of course, you can do that because there's nothing that goes here. But ideally, you want to use that platform for the farmer, right? So that you can invade here and here. And you probably want to do this even now. Because now that all the quick point tiles are gone, it seems, we want to just go here and try to connect either from this side or from the other side. Although ideally what you want to be doing, we want to actually be going here. Yeah, we want to go here now. I don't know the tiles, but the idea is that we go here, we'll wait for the final curve, just try and get these extra points. Or maybe, no, maybe going here is a little bit better. Because you see, the problem is, if we go here, then with virtually any tile, our opponent uses this platform and just reinvades on this side and negates our farmer. So this here, with this orientation, appears to be the move. And there's actually 1 more straight line which you can use over here. But instead, LSC does not want the 12-point farm. He wants a 6-point farm instead, which in his defense is actually a 12-point farm, because if he were to get the road monastery, which he seems to have needed, he could develop this guy into 12-point farm, huh? In any case, none of that is going to happen. Self-evident is going to win this crucial duel. He's also going to get the last curve. Actually, never mind, there's no curve remaining. Apologies to those of you who are screaming at the screen. So he's going to get, what, the last straight line, I guess? No, the last monastery. I should really sharpen my counting for these streams. But in any case, yeah, it appears that the monastery tile was needed by LSC. And actually his final move was really, really incredibly smart. Because you know what? I mean, not his final move, obviously, but this move over here. Because that's one way to get 13 points. Because with the road monastery, you can go here, expanding the 6-point field to 9 points. And also to get 1 extra point for this monastery over here. But that's not all. At first, I was worried that red might go somewhere here and sort of anticipate that invasion. But actually, that wasn't possible because the other 2 tiles were city tiles. I mean, not city tiles, but there weren't road tiles. So this part and this part of the field were super closed. So actually, I think I really want to engineer this. So LSC obviously loses, but if you were to get the road monastery, he would have gone over here and expanded his field to bring in these guys to get 6 more points, right? Then QAZ would not have had this monastery, so he would have had 8 less. And where he would have used this guy. And this guy only can be used for 4 points here. But then QAZ would have also had this tile to be used here for 2 extra. So QAZ would have had 6 instead of 8, so that's -2. And in any case, LSC would have lost with a 3-point difference instead of an 11-point difference. So still, Seng Yu-Chin was in full control. And we congratulate Team China with their 2nd point. And their 3rd, as Dr. Taihan also won on table 2 against Pan Pan, and the remaining duel on table 5 is just for the tiebreakers. CT against Bilal Aferi are playing their decider. Hi, Sunny. Congratulations to your win, and commiserations to the loss of the team. Oh, look at this. The final game has just finished, and CT has, in fact, committed a major upset against Bilal Aferi, making the loss on table 1 even more painful for Hong Kong fans. So China 3, Hong Kong 2. China asserting their dominance as one of the only 2 teams to ever win the World Championship back in 2023. But the tiebreakers are still important. So Team Hong Kong does have themselves 2 match points, 2 duel points rather, which could make a difference in the tournament table. And the tournament table is, in fact, the last bit Sorry, lost my train. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, last bit before wrapping up. I just want to look at the tournament situation. So Group A. Finland sitting on top with 3 points. China also with 3 wins after defeating Hong Kong. But their tiebreaker, surprisingly, is not as good as Team Finland's, because this is their tiebreaker. And if Finland somehow wins against China, which is completely possible, so, you just need Nallerheim to win and 2 other players to win. It's not that hard. Then Finland could stay at the top of the group. Hong Kong now just lost, making their tiebreaker slightly worse, but still better than Catalonia's. So Hong Kong's tiebreaker now is what? 7 and 8. So it's -1. Catalonia at the same number of match wins with 1 match won, but a worse duels won to duels lost ratio because of their heavy loss to Finland. This is not going to stay for long because Catalonia is expected to win tomorrow morning against Australia, a match which I'm not sure I'll be able to stream yet. If I am gonna, then you're gonna find out about this on a very short notice. Yeah, and Hungary is the other team with 0 wins. The situation is pretty difficult for them. So Hong Kong is going to be in 4th after all of this, and since they had already played Catalonia and lost, really the situation for the East Asian team is looking pretty grim. Basically, what they need to hope for, they just have to hope for Catalonia's losses. Like, that's the only thing that they can really do. And since Catalonia is yet to play China, if I remember correctly, then this hope is quite reasonable. Hong Kong is yet to play Finland, but I don't think Hong Kong is necessarily going to be the favorite here. It's going to be a close match for sure, but I wouldn't take that victory for granted. Yeah, so difficult situation, very, very difficult situation here for the Islanders. But we're going to find out what happens in the course of the 2 weeks. As for our other group, what did we cover? Japan and Czechia. Well, that is straightforward. Japan and United States are in 2 out of 2. Japan has the better tiebreaker. They've won their crucial duel against Czech Republic, and they're going to be the heavy favorite against Malaysia and against the United States. So it should be a clean sweep for Japan in Group E. Whereas Czechia's main match is still ahead. Oh, wait, is it still? Wait, who did Czechia lose to? I'm not trying to figure this out. They've played 2 matches before this. Did they already lose to the United States? I think they might have already lost to the United States. In which case... No. Okay, I think I'm losing something. Who did Czechia lose to? If they lost against the United States, then it's a very difficult situation for them because it's really... This is going to be the main duel, the main match for qualification to the playoffs, as the top 2 spots are only guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. Yeah, so it's quite grim. So what Czech Republic needs to do is just to hope that points are distributed in a favorable manner between the other teams. Yeah, really they just have to hope that Japan beats the United States. And then maybe that Netherlands beats the United States again, and then Czechia beats the Netherlands. Then it's a good position for them, yeah. But I don't think the fate of Czech Republic is entirely in their hands. So this is the tournament situation to the best of my understanding. Krish Kautis is asking, what are the chances for Latvia to qualify if the last game is to be lost? How about we don't lose the last game? That would be the plan. High self-evident, congratulations on the match win and on the duel win for you personally. You said nearly thrown the duel away. I mean, we were watching the endgame, I wasn't really seeing anything there, because even if the Road Monastery is drawn, by LSC, I still think that Self-Evident is ahead by 3 points according to my calculation. Well, anyway, since Krish is asking, let's actually have a look at Group G. I wasn't planning to, but since we're talking about the tournament situation anyway. So. Taiwan Tutsiche is, I think, the match tomorrow. And we probably expect a victory from Taiwan, but we don't know necessarily. So what are Latvia's chances to qualify? Well, I believe if we win game 4, then we... wait a second. Then tiebreakers also matter. Because just winning against Tutsiche is not going to be enough necessarily. So let's say if Croatia wins against Belgium, which I don't think they've... No, wait. Yeah, so Croatia have won against Latvia. We don't want to talk about how that happened. And they won against Tutsiche already. They're yet to play Taiwan, and they're yet to play Belgium. So the best thing that can happen for us is that if Croatia just wins all the other matches, because it will guarantee that Taiwan and Belgium is going to have 2 losses. If we lose to Tutsiche, which we're going to try and avoid at all costs, but if that were to happen, our tiebreaker of -3 is going to become even worse. It's going to be at least -4. So the difference between jewels won and jewels lost. So if that were to happen, then we'd have to hope that Croatia just beats Taiwan 5-0. Yeah, and actually that should do it. Even if Taiwan wins against Tutsiche, if Croatia beats Taiwan 5-0, then we're going to have the same tiebreaker, I believe. But we will have won the mutual encounter because Latvia already played Taiwan. But to answer your question short, yeah, because of the tiebreaker, Latvia really needs to win that last game. And if we win the last game, we probably qualify unless something extremely unfortunate happens. So this is the situation in Group G. Alrighty. Oh, okay, Self-Evident saying that you lost the winnable second game. Yeah, this one we weren't seeing because we were focused on Sunny's encounter against Secret Star. I wish I could clone myself 5 times to stream all 5 duels, but I can't. Anyway, congratulations to Japan and to China. We're going to be wrapping up. If you like this video, make sure to meeple the like button for the algorithm. Very important. In case you're here for the first time, subscribe for more competitive content like this. And in case you like this video very, 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 very much, then I have enabled again the super thanks function, which you feel free to use. That one was actually quite difficult to do. There were a variety of bureaucratic hoops, but finally that one's up again. It's going to be in the streams. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you soon.